Hello, everyone, and welcome back. I am Nicole Payne, CMA, and by request, I am here today to talk to you about what is a CMA and what can a CMA do for you. For those of you who don't know me, I am Nicole Payne. I'm with Pixel Financial Group, and I've just recently received my CMA, and so that's why we are talking today about what that is. So for those of you who don't know, who've never heard that term, the term CMA refers to Certified Management Accountant. So, really, in a nutshell, what that means is the purpose and goal of a CMA is to help you grow a business, whether that's working as a CFO within a big multinational corporation or working in an outsourced position or as a staff accountant, whatever the case may be. That CMA really is intended to help be a basis for understanding the full picture for the business and making sure that that picture is working towards the goals of the business. So, what does it take to become a CMA? There are three primary education requirements. The first one being that you have to have an advanced degree from an accredited university or study program. For me, that meant that I got my education, my undergraduate degree from the Brigham Young University out in Provo, Utah, and that's my accounting degree. My ultimate, my foundation in accounting came from Brigham Young University, or BYU for most people who know it. And then I also have my master's degree, my MBA from the University of Utah. So those two things combined really set me up for success with the CMA. Then the second education requirement is a minimum of 24 months of experience in the accounting industry, be it as a staff accountant within a company or working for a CPA firm or other accounting firm. My experience, I actually had, when I was filling out my experience education form, the total came out to something like 784 months. Because for most of you who know me, I've been working with Pixel for the last 5 years. And then before that, I had another accounting firm that I owned that was called Flow Accounting Solutions, and I did that for about 4 years. And before that, I was a staff accountant for many years. So it was a little crazy to put that number as my education total on my application for my CMA. But then after you've established that you meet the education requirements, the third education facet is the test. What certification doesn't require a test? I don't know if I know of any, but anyway, so the CMA exam is actually broken up into two parts. And the first part tests the primary competencies of an accountant, which is financial reporting, meaning do you know how a set of financial statements should be structured? Do you know what to look for to make sure that it's correct? Do you know what goes into those different reports? Then planning, budgeting, and forecasting, which is exactly what it sounds like, making sure that you understand the facets of how to plan and budget and forecast for a company. Performance management, so gauging how you performed on your plans. And then cost management, just like it sounds, pretty straightforward. Internal controls. Now, this is something that most people don't know what that means. So, internal controls is making sure that you have procedures and processes in place to protect the assets of your company, making sure that there's not ways for people to steal from your company. And as an accountant who works with a lot of small businesses, this is something that we try to drill into them over and over and over again, is making sure that employees have checks and balances so that your company and ultimately you are protected from theft or other means of damage to the company. And then the last competency that's tested in part one is technology and analytics. We've actually had clients refer to us as a technology forward firm for a lot of different reasons, and it's because we try to be on the forefront of what's going on in the industry when it comes to technology and making sure that you understand how technology plays a role in the accounting process. So those are the competencies that are tested in the first part of the exam. The second part of the exam tests financial statement analysis, making sure that you understand key performance indicators or KPIs. Corporate finance, making sure you understand how companies are financed, what money comes into the company in order to allow it to run. So that financing can come in the terms of loans, in terms of investments from outside entities, whether it's individuals or corporations. All of those things play into corporate finance, and they all have specific things associated with them as far as pros and cons. And that's one of the things that this test examined. Decision analysis. So this sounds pretty straightforward, but it's actually a little bit more detailed than what you might think. Um, the decision analysis is really geared towards making sure that each decision that a company makes is analyzed to make sure that it has the proper return on investment that the company is looking for. For instance, if you're going to go out and buy a vehicle for your company, you want to make sure that that vehicle is going to pay for itself and then some. Otherwise, it's not a good investment. Um, Risk management. So risk management is about understanding where you could potentially see um, damages, any type of threats to the company, whether it's through financial um, financial controls, whether it's from natural disasters or fires or uh, any kind of uh, event that can cause the company damage. We want to analyze that and make sure that there's plans in place to prevent them or to have a means of re-establishing the company after said event. And then the last core competency on the second exam is professional ethics. And a lot of people think, why would you have a test on ethics? Like, ethics seems like it should be one of those things whether you either have it or you don't. But this is super important because there are so many moving parts when it comes to the accounting industry in any business. There are so many moving parts, and it's so easy to lose sight of the big picture in order to meet this next deadline or this next goal or this next milestone. And when you lose sight of that big picture, that's when professional ethics start to get a little compromised. And we don't want our ethics to be compromised because that's just opening the door for any number of misdeeds, whether it's our own misdeeds or misdeeds within the company, because company culture really starts from the top. But one of the great things about the professional ethics portion of this exam and studying for it was the fact that it really opened up my eyes, particularly as to the range of not just what ethics are, but how you view different situations. There are so many different ways that you can approach the same situation. 6 to be exact, if you want to go off of what we learned or what we studied as part of the exam. But your particular philosophy and ethical standing determines how you approach a situation. So each person might have a different ethical philosophy, but they would ultimately, in theory, come to the same conclusion. So, obviously, I mean, not obviously, but I already said that I was able to pass and was certified back in December. And so I did pass these exams. And now, because I've passed these exams, I'm required to maintain 40 hours of continuing education. And the reason that this is a really big, important thing, got to rewind that a little bit. 40 hours of continuing education per year to maintain my certification and my title there as a CMA. And this is a really important key piece of the education requirement for CMAs and for any certified individual, because that continuing education really means that they have to stay on top of what's happening right now. just the fact that I went to school 15 years ago for accounting doesn't mean that I know what's happening today or, right now, currently in the industry, in the economy at large. So that's really the key crucial thing with CMA certifications. But what does this mean? Why would you be interested in knowing what a CMA is or having a CMA on your side? Really what it means is that personally, I love doing planning, projections, and budgeting. I love doing that financial analysis and the decision analysis because that's really where companies either thrive or die. When you're making decisions in a vacuum and you don't have all the information, meaning you don't know what you don't know, that's when you tend to make decisions that aren't going to be in the company's best interest. So having a CMA on your side who can help you see the things that you don't necessarily know to look for, that can help you create a better decision. It can maybe open your eyes to an alternative that you didn't even know was a possibility. So just a little plug for why you might want to talk with the CMA before you have any major decisions with your company. But as always, you're free to reach out. At the end of the slide or at the end of the video, you'll have my contact information. You can reach me on YouTube, Facebook, and through the comments on this video itself, or you'll have my email address on that contact card. I love to hear your comments, thoughts, concerns, anything that you have questions about. Feel free to reach out, and maybe in a future video, I'll be able to answer a question specifically for you. Anyway, take care, guys. We'll talk to you later.